Hey everyone, how's it going? Matt Jarbo here, $3 Theater, joined by my friend Enosh from the Poindexter Lounge. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing swell, man. I'm home and I'm ready to talk about this topic.
The Snyder Cut, which we've been, like a long time now, we've been talking about this. But today's particular topic is one that's going to be very contentious because a lot of people out there are very frustrated with this article that came up yesterday, where Ann Sarnoff basically shut everything down. She just kind of went up to the Snyder Cut fandom and just kicked them square in the nuts. And a lot of people that we know, are at this point going like, I'm out, I'm done, right? I'm not going to renew. I'm not going to keep with it. This is it. I'm done. And I wanted to, cause I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm in that category, but like I'm leaning towards that category. And I don't think you're there yet yourself.
No.
But like, so I wanted to kind of go through as much data as we could think of here, and like to kind of like inform people yay or nay, like to give them as much info as humanly possible about what's available. And to be fair, there's not a lot. We don't have any kind of key data at this point that's been talked about by HBOMax. They've released nothing in regards to how much this has done, right? Like when Wonder Woman 84 came out, within Monday, they greenlit a sequel and we knew the numbers and they were all about it. They haven't said anything about this yet, which is another thing that's causing a lot of fans a lot of frustration and a lot of anger. So first, I think we need to go through kind of like, one thing is right now specifically, Zack Snyder is saying, don't cancel your HBO Max subscription. Jacob Torres on Vero basically posted something saying, don't cancel your HBO Max subscription. If we want Zack Snyder's Justice League to rise more, we have the numbers to rise. If we want Restore the Snyderverse to keep playing the rules, Warner Brothers never faced all of us, not all of us united. And Zack responded back with, that's right. And you know what? I mean, I give him props for giving kind of like the we can do it, guys. We did it once, we can do it again. But I can't help but think personally that he himself is kind of done, because in the interviews leading up to it, everyone kept asking him like, "Are we going to get more? Are we going to get more?" And he kept kind of trying to get everyone to maybe manage their expectations a little bit.
Sure.
And I know a lot of people are mad about yesterday, but like, now we're getting a bunch of conflicting stuff. But what I wanted to kind of touch upon here was in the Variety article, there was this segment here about who Ann Sarnoff is, because a lot of people have been very confused about who she is.
Yep.
And it says here that she is Warner Media Studios CEO. Now, if you come over here to her bio, which is on the website, she is the chair and CEO of Warner Media Studios, and she was promoted to it last August. She oversees Warner Brothers Picture Group, HBO and HBO Max, the Warner Brothers Television Group, DC Kids Young Adults Classics, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Boomerang, TCM, Cartoon Network Studios, Warner Brother Animation, TBS, TNT, True TV, Wizarding World, which is the Harry Potter thing, Consumer Products and Gaming, and that's her job. She, outside of Jason Kilar, which is like the CEO of Warner Media, she's essentially the person in charge of HBO Max. So when she comes out and she says it's done, I mean, that is a kick to the nuts, because that is, you only have one person above it that would even remotely be able to step in and say something, right? So how do you combat that?
Well, look, I'm kind of with you. I wish one that, look, if it didn't do the numbers, right? If it just didn't get watched that much or whatever, just come out and give those numbers. Say Wonder Woman did these many numbers, that's why we greenlit a sequel. Snyder Cut didn't. But it's this BS of going back and forth and not really telling the tale and just trying to cut it off, that makes Warner Brothers just look like a bunch of jerks constantly.
Yeah.
Like they just don't like their fans. Like they just don't, makes them look really petty to me. And it makes them look like, okay, well, we just don't like Zack Snyder, so we're literally just not going to give Zack Snyder a win no matter what, even though he got his Snyder Cut. Like, because it's a flat out lie. First of all, that article, like where she's like, we're so happy to have been able to give Zack Snyder the opportunity to have shared his 4-hour vision, which is something that wouldn't have been able to happen. Well, maybe, yeah, it wouldn't have been able to happen 4 years ago, whatever. But they weren't happy to do it. They didn't just
No.
hand it over. They didn't just give us this cookie and say, there you go, guys. We're just so happy to do it because we believe in Zack Snyder and we believe in the fans and we're so glad that you guys support this. No, this was something that had to be fought tooth and nail for. You know, social media campaigns, banners, people put their blood, sweat, tears, money, time, you know, just everything on the line. You know, fandom, their some of their friends, whatever, you know, you know, reputations. Sometimes when we were being told it doesn't exist, Snyder Cut doesn't exist, flat out. They put everything into it. These fans put everything. Zach put everything into it, and now it just feels like, oh, see, we couldn't even give you like 10 days. We couldn't even give you 10 days to just enjoy that time. We gave you like 5, and then we just had to come in and smack it down. So
yeah,
my feeling on it is this. I know Jason Kilar very much so has been very vocal about supporting Zach. I feel like if Jason Kilar had come out and said this and said, hey guys, you know what? We're proud of Zach. You know, I'm proud of Zach. I'm proud of the fandom. You know, we believed in this. We put this out, but we're not going to go forward. I even think maybe the fans would have been, we wouldn't have been happy, right? Snyder Cut fans wouldn't have been happy, but I think it would have been more, you would have been more accepting because you would have felt like it came from a genuine place. Nobody's even heard from Ann during this whole time. Ann hasn't been the forefront of this. It hasn't been like forthcoming and talking about this and promoting it or anything. And so to have her be the spokesperson that comes out and says, no, it's just dead. And by the way, everything's dead. By the way, I'm just going to like take a big steaming pile of douche right on everything that you guys liked, everything that you thought. So it's almost like she was kidnapped by certain people that we all, don't want to talk about and like forced it, you know, to talk and say these things, these talking points, like, nope, you're not going to get the Snyderverse continued. Nope, you're not getting the David Ayer cut. Nope, we're there's a toxic fandom and we know it and we don't support that. We're not gonna, you know, like give in to those people. No, Ray Fisher, you know, we don't believe in anything that he said, and our things didn't substantiate that and blah blah blah. And it was just like talking point. Get out of my face, kid.
It felt like the article felt like it came out like it was written before the Snyder Cut even came out.
Yes.
Know? And it just felt like this weird kind of like hatchet job against like the fandom in general, which I can see why it triggered a lot of people. And here's a weird theory. I mean, and you may agree with me or not, and I'm not even sure how much I believe this, but what if that whole thing, what if it's, you know, because, okay, look at it like this. Wonder Woman 84 came out and did a fair amount and, you know, brought 4 million new subscribers to the platform, like they said. And 2/3 of those stuck around, you know, so that's not bad. That's pretty good. And we're not hearing anything about Snyder, because a lot of those 4 million would have been Snyder fans. You know what I mean? They would have come in for that when it became available in their country, because a lot of the Snyder Cut fandom is not in the United States. And now even in some of those countries where they're not able to get that kind of data, they were able to go through VOD, but we're never going to be given the VOD numbers. So that's unfortunate. So
how many of those people stuck around like me after getting it for Wonder Woman? How many people stuck around for Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I mean, I did, but I remember I told you I bought like a new TV for it. Yeah. So I was like really excited to see it. And the whole idea here now is like, okay, so it's coming, it's gone, it's great. We all love it. We all want more. And they're telling us it's all dead. So my question then becomes like, was this a ploy to like boost the subscriber numbers for HBOMax? And now they don't care if we leave, because they probably might think that, because if you look at the article itself, Anne is saying also, well, we're integrating with all of these different departments, that we're bringing everybody into the fold. And that's too many cooks in the kitchen. If you don't have a person who is overseeing this, and I'm sorry, it's not Hamada. Hamada oversees DC Films. Who is the architect of this universe that is happening? And it better not be a boardroom of suits, because you guys always get it wrong. And we know this.
Well, it's a multiverse for everyone and everything, every television, every movie, every video game, right? Everything except for the Snyderverse. And see, that's another thing that seems really disingenuous about this. It's like she even goes on, it's like, well, this ends his trilogy. I said it on my stream last night, and I'll say it again. I'll look you straight in the eye. And it's not a trilogy. It never was. What the heck were you watching, Ann? Because that wasn't a trilogy. It didn't even end like a freaking trilogy. You expect us to trust you and believe you that you're being honest when you don't even freaking know what a trilogy is? He's only been doing the press circuit for the last 5 years saying it was a 5-movie arc. 5 is not 3.
Well, I mean,
and apparently we just shut the multiverse door, the dimensional door to the Snyderverse. It's just shut, but we can open it up to Batman 66. We can. I mean, what?
I'm not gonna lie. If Adam West was still alive, I would love to see that.
Yeah. But see, that's what I've been saying. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the multiverse. I don't have a problem with him going in this new direction. But to single out this and say this we're not going to do anymore seems very much like, hey, we didn't get our way. We didn't get to do what we wanted to do. Instead, is slam the door on Zack Snyder because these fans wouldn't shut up. Zack wouldn't stop talking about his cut.
Yeah.
We tried to even just put out his crappy, unfinished cut. That didn't work. So now, look, you got your stuff. Go away. We don't care about you. And they keep talking about, like, our plan. We're going to do our thing. Our thing. Screw what anybody else wants. Just stick around because you might like this too.
That was a very condescending line in there, I thought.
Oh, God.
Just stick around. You might really like some of the voices that are coming into play here. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure. Give me what is it? Calvin Harris, right? Val Zod, right? Fine, cool. I'm fine with that one.
Calvin Ellis, yeah.
Yeah, give me who was the other? Blue Beetle. I don't know these characters very well, but I'm willing to learn, and that's kind of the whole point. The thing is, though, is like it does feel like they are very tired of this because it's been going on for years, and I mean, if they thought this was going to go away, I think they're kind of dumb. However, it does go a little bit. So we are seeing this shift in the media itself, and some aspects of it are kind of having some weird plays. So I do want to bring up this article here from Cosmic Book News. Now, I believe this is important, even though they are an absolute joke website, in my opinion. But Matt McGloin put out this article yesterday saying Snyder Cut fails to deliver for HBO Max, worse than Wonder Woman 84. I mean, it's obviously a clickbait headline because when you go and you look up what his sources are, this is where things kind of get interesting, and then they start to kind of fall apart. So he says here that Samba TV, a company that claims to measure TV audiences, says that only 1.8 million households tuned in for the Snyder Cut, while Wonder Woman 84 netted 2.2 million. Okay, that's not too bad. But the guy that they sourced here is Luis Fernando, who says here, according to third-party researcher Samba TV, Justice League was watched by 1.8 million households. So that's what they're pulling from. Okay, and Wonder Woman was a bit more. But he says the follow-up tweet, which wasn't referenced in the Cosmic Book News article, says the catch is Samba TV only measures selected opted-in smart TVs with automatic content recognition technology. What means is they only reached a limited amount of devices and households. Actual total households may be even higher, as Nielsen and WM data, Warner Media data for Wonder Woman 84 implied. For instance, and then he follows up here by saying that Wonder Woman 1984 wasn't 2.4 million households, it was 2.2 million, so 200,000 less compared to the 1.8 million for Snyder Cut. So that is only a 400,000 person difference. And that was, only over the course of 3 days. 3 days is what they're looking at. March 18th to March 21st. 3 days. That's it. And it is here above everything else. So that is, looking at that breakdown. Obviously, what Matt McGloin is saying is very mixed in the sourcing, but it goes on into more. He also cites here Viewer Anon on Twitter, who tweeted that the Snyder Cut numbers aren't earth-shattering. Well, Viewer Anon is a person that I do believe has some credibility. And he says here, piggybacking off of that Sarnoff quote, I've heard the Snyder Cut has done well on HBOMax, but the numbers aren't earth-shattering, and also Warner Brothers' rudderless steering of DC films continues. Then someone asked, did it best Wonder Woman 84 or fall short? And he says, I've heard, and please keep this in mind, I'm not 100% confident in this, which is why I didn't say anything until Sarnoff shut down the idea of continuing, that it's down on Wonder Woman 84 in terms of new subscribers, but I don't know when it comes to minutes viewed. And what was I just talking about with the people who came in for Wonder Woman and they stayed for Snyder Cut? So we're talking about a situation here where the narrative, especially through Cosmic Book News, by just looking at the sources that they clicked and continuing to read down in the thread, my God, it's not that hard to do, are showing us that the data here that we're seeing is not the most conclusive out there. And to further bring something up here in regards to view or not, it's not that this guy's an anti-DC shill, which some people out there might actually think. He's a little snarky, but that's about it. But the other day when Zach called out Geeks and Gamers, he quoted, he took a snapshot here of Bounding Into Comics crying about it. And he's like, "You okay over there, Snowflake?" So he didn't put up none of that crap either. So this guy is not like he's anti-Snyder Cut. You know what I mean? Like, whereas because of the whole Geeks and Gamers thing, and even this Matt McGloin article at the very end of it, he says, I was going to re-up my HBOMax subscription, but because of how they treated Geeks and Gamers, I'm not going to do it. But they did give me a review code for the movie for free, which I saw and I liked. So, I'm like, okay, so you clearly have a bias. You clearly have an agenda that you tuck all the way at the bottom of your entire screed. And it's also almost kind of disproven by literally 3 minutes of looking around on Twitter. But so maybe there is a little bit of silver lining here, is what I'm trying to get to ultimately. So the people out there that are wanting to cancel HBO Max, if you are upset at this, I understand that. And because we have friends who are basically saying that they're out, that they're done because they feel like they're slighted here. But we don't have the official data yet. That is true. And we don't have any of the actual numbers, but there is, maybe there's a little bit of a light in the darkness. Someone got to have faith, right? Faith, Alfred, faith.
Gotta have
which
faith.
is actually one of my favorite lines from that movie because it shows character development. My God, how amazing. Really, sorry, I just really like the Snyder Cut. I think it's super good. But Mikey Sutton over here on Geekosity, says that Zack Snyder's Snyderverse will live on HBO Max. Now, Mikey is a person that I know pretty well. And he has been on point. He was giving me Snyder Cut details back in November of 2019, far before anything else is going on that we heard about. So, he was one of the ones talking about it, and ultimately he was proven correct. And he's been right on some other stuff like Spider-Man coming back to the MCU. He was the first one to call that out.
Okay.
And so he's saying it's going to live on. And he's saying that his sources are telling him that Jason Kilar, super happy with everything, that there's a lot of love for it behind the scenes, and that it's going to continue. Because at this point, that's where it has to go.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And my concern... Yeah, and I think everyone who's been paying attention understands that it's Kilar. I mean, look, we had that conversation with that guy William the other night on your channel, which was very enlightening, by the way. I thought that was a good convo. And he was mentioning how Jason Kilar was the former CEO of Hulu before moving over to Warner Media. And even though Ann Sarnoff is currently in charge of HBO Max, and Toby Emmerich is in charge of the feature film division of HBO Max and Warner Brothers. So he's got Warner Brothers Picture Group is Toby, and then everything else is Ann. So there is definitely like competition for Zach to get back into the fold here, but the person who holds all the cards is Jason Kilar. And he has been the one to kind of, I believe, shepherd all of this.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is, and the reason why I think Zach was going around Warner's this whole time was because there's an interview I heard with him the other day where he was talking about reshooting the nightmare scene stuff. And he said that the studio, i.e. Warner Brothers, didn't want him to shoot anything. They didn't want him to shoot anything extra, nothing extra. Because remember, we heard that when it was first announced, like no new footage, no reshoots and whatever.
Yep. And
then he still went and did it anyway.
Yay.
And he went and he did it. And what I loved is he shot it on digital, not on film, by the way. If you look, he's using that custom red camera that is like so sexy. And so he still did this anyway. And he established, and they knew about it, that there was going to be 2 cliffhangers in that movie, and 3,
because that's how you end a trilogy.
Yeah, that's how you end. That's how you park in a cul-de-sac by having 3 cliffhangers.
Yes. Zach always doing things different, man. Zach always, keep people on their toes. Like, this is how I end my trilogies. I was like, wake the F up, man. This is how you end a trilogy right here, is with 3 cliffhangers. Come on. A cliffhanger for each movie.
Really, if you think about it, like, because you've got the Dark Side, you've got the Martian Manhunter, and you got the Nightmare sequence. Those are 3 cliffhangers right there. Yeah, they all tie in together, but they're also cliffhangers.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and the thing is, they knew about it, they promoted it, they put it out there, they pushed it heavily.
Yep.
They have to. I mean, the numbers, I don't look, I can't say the numbers were better than Wonder Woman 84. I could only imagine that they would be better than Wonder Woman 84. But
just the sheer look, man, just the sheer, what I'm seeing of, you know, we, like you said, we don't know the volume, you know, but I will say this, the quality of responses that I've seen, people who absolutely have hated his films over the last few years, you know, hated, you know, or at least really heavily disliked Man of Steel, people who absolutely hated BVS, people who, you know, loathed the last Justice League movie, and you know, weren't even willing to give this one a chance, even though it wasn't the same thing, are gushing over this film, saying that they love this, that they were absolutely shocked. I've had conversation after conversation with people who are just in absolute shock about this. People who are diehard Marvel fans, who would never ever say that anything that Zack Snyder did was on par with Marvel, have told me this is Avengers level good. That says something.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just literally, I had a guy who has not liked the Snyder stuff, doesn't like Man of Steel so much. He's got problems with it. He's got a lot of problems with BVS, but like, he even messaged me. I had him on my channel the other night. He's actually somebody from a totally different take on stuff, and he's given me a hard time in my comments and stuff like that, and I've had to deal with this for a while. And I actually had him on the other night, and we talked for an hour on the channel about this, and he was gushing about it. And then when he heard this news yesterday, he messaged me and he said, no, we've got, they've got to know that this is not just the Snyder fans. It's not just, you know, the shills, you know, that everybody think are out there, you know, and the Russian bots, you know, like this is real people who are enjoying this and want to see more of this. We don't want this to go away now. People are starting to finally wake up to the fact, Matt, that it wasn't Zack that was the problem.
Yeah. And that's a really good thing, to be honest with you. Cause I think what I saw was, I gauge people on my Facebook, cause a lot of them are normies, you know, and people I went to high school with who like were super athletic, not into nerdy shit at all. And like one of them came out and she's like, what's this I hear about a Snyder cut of Justice League? And people are like, oh yeah, they kind of like, they redid it. And she's like, hold on, be right back. You know, she came out, she's like, that was great. Right. And I have other friends that are like, people stop spoiling it on my page, you know, because all of her friends are talking about it.
Sure.
And she's a flight attendant. And she wasn't able to watch it at that time. So she was furious that there was stuff that was being talked about that she wasn't able to be part of yet. This is what the world building looks like, DC fans. This is what Marvel fans get all the time. You know, they get involved all the time. So what you have Marvel fans that went a year literally with no Marvel content and are now, you know, coming off of WandaVision and going into Falcon and Winter Soldier and now all the other information that we know from the rest of this year, where we are going to get Marvel content almost every single month, with the exception, I think, of like May. And that's only off by 1 day. Enosh, right? But really, it's a ton of Marvel content this year, and fans are very happy for that. Then they look to DC for something a little bit different, and they go, oh, here's this Snyder cut. Here's this 4-hour movie. And they're like, oh, there's world building, there's character development, there's intrigue, there's cliffhangers, there's all this great stuff. And then they're like, no, we want more of this. And like, that's probably the coolest thing I've seen. So it's like, the problem though, is I don't know if it's enough. And I don't know how to force and Sarnoff. And I don't want to use the word force. I think that's too harsh. Someone will clip it and go, oh, you know, but like nudge in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like nudge in the right direction. And the thing is,
you mean like the Flash, like, you know, just runs around and pushes people.
Yeah, that was great. That was pretty good. Yeah. You know, or takes a hot dog, either or.
Yes.
But really, but then again, the business side of it boils down to the like money, you know? And Warner's said today that they signed that new deal with Regal. So for 2022, their feature films are going to have a 45-day window in theaters. And then after that, go to streaming.
Yeah.
So they understand that like that they're trying to make the money back, and they still want to put an emphasis on streaming, but it's like, why not just so like I don't want to say
it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating because look, like you said, this is something different. This is something that got people's attention. This is something that's been 4 years in the making. That this we finally got this breakthrough. And like I've been telling people the last day or so, like I spent a while yesterday on Twitter tweeting out some things, tagging some different things, but you got to tag Jason Keelar. Like if you're gonna like do social media or whatever, and you're gonna use the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse, it's great to tag her in it, but she's not gonna change her mind. She's got her mind made up. They're very focused right now on they're gonna do this multiverse thing. They're gonna go in this one direction. That's all they're gonna do, and the world be damned. They're not going to, they're not gonna sidestep from that. So, like you said, if we are ever going to realize any of Zack Snyder's vision going forward, or any of these properties like that are adjacent to that, like a Ben Affleck Batman, limited series where we want to see that with the Deathstroke story with the Joker, whatever. If we get any of that, it's going to have to be through HBO Max, and that means that we have to make sure that HBO Max, that Jason Keelar, and that the powers that be know that we are in this for the long haul. I know that that's hard, especially after this long, grueling 4-year battle, and it feels like we got the ultimate win because we got what we wanted. We got what we asked for. We got what we fought for. But then we saw that there was a bigger picture. And I'm just encouraging people, don't lose hope, because I've had a lot of people, talk to me, send me messages, and who some of them are, like at the first sound of this, they're just like, oh, the sky is falling. This is it. It's done. It's done. Enosh, we lost Enosh. And I'm like, well, first of all, we didn't lose. We got the Snyder cut. That was the big thing, man. We got the Snyder cut, but now we have a new mission. It's like, now it's time for the sequel. Like we finished the first movie. We overcame the extraordinary odds. And now it's time that we move on. And I know it's hard sometimes to feel like we're starting all over again, but we're not. As a fandom, we're not starting all over again, because you know what? We don't have to reorganize because we're already organized. Like we're here. We have a voice. It's how we go about doing it. It's how organized we're going to be and how strategic we're going to be. Like you said, like we're not going to go out and be bullies. We're not going to go out and, tell people off or whatever. And the way to handle this is not to go out and cancel your HBO Max subscription. Like it's almost what they want. I know that they don't want you to cancel your HBO Max subscription, but it's like they almost want to be able to prove a point, Matt, that these crazy Snyder cut lovers, are off the handle. They're, you can't please them. Look, they just want more and more and more and more and more. But this isn't just about Snyder cut lovers. This is not just about those people, because this is about now a bigger spectrum of people now. So keep pushing.
So you're saying hold the line is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hold the line and don't get rid of your HBO Max subscription. Keep it.
Yeah.
But is there going to be, because I'm with you to a point. All right. But then I'm thinking about this, like logistically, like what is going to cause the most damage, and I don't want to say damage, like what's going to cause the most pressure, right? And that, of course, is going to be mass exoduses of people canceling as a way to vote with their wallet, so to speak. Because otherwise, you might be paying the $15 a month for HBO Max for DC content, and you're not watching anything else. To them, it doesn't matter because they're getting your $15 one way or the other, So there's that. However, I do want to bring this up real quick. I did find this on Twitter just right now. So this is the Google web traffic. This is the search, the interest, right? The trending interests. And look at over time. Look at where Justice League is. That's the blue number right there.
Wow.
That's the blue number, and that's just in recent weeks. WandaVision, you can see where it peaked out and then where it started to dip. And you can see where Falcon and Winter Soldier started to kind of rise a little bit, and then but look at Justice League, and that is now over. Google search is firing up. So people are people are paying attention. And not everybody got this movie through HBO Max. Let's be fair. Some people, they got it through VOD. In other countries, it was available in Brazil and Latin America and through VOD, England in VOD. A lot of these countries got it like that. I think Australia, HBO Max, but New Zealand was VOD, I think. And they're going to expand this year, right? They're going to expand into different territories throughout the rest of this year. So maybe right now it's not looking that great, but that's also, we're not getting all the data on this. We're not getting all the information on this one. And so really, if Zach here is saying, you know, hey, just keep it up, then he has better insight than what we do.
Yeah.
You know, and he kept the fire going for years in order to raise enough of an army to push them, nudge them gently in the right direction. Now, it's possible that it might take something a bit more direct without canceling. And there's I do kind of want to wrap it up after this, but there is a story. You remember the show Jericho that was on CBS back in 06?
Oh, yes.
You know the story of how it got renewed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love the show. I thought it was great. I was so mad when it was canceled.
Yeah.
But what they did was the fans, they organized very similarly to the Snyder Cut.
Yep.
And they didn't raise money for charity.
Nope.
But what they did is the final word uttered in the last episode, the season finale, was nuts. And it was a reference to something else in the story. But people took that and they started sending bags of nuts to CBS. And we're not talking just some. We're talking tons and tons and tons of nuts. They organized, they crowdfunded.
I almost sent some nuts myself.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I like the show, and when
I think I called and left a voice message is what I did. You know, I didn't really see the value in the nuts, to be honest with you, but it.
Well, I remember they were putting out there though. They were putting out news stories saying like, "Stop sending us nuts."
Well, yeah, because not only that, they also took out ad space in Variety as a way to like broadcast. Okay, we got you back. As a way to broadcast this as well, and they kept it up for months and months and months until CBS was like, please, for the love of God, stop.
Just please.
We'll give you 7 episodes. Okay, 7 episodes, and they put out the 7 episodes, and it definitely had a lower budget. And they were still good. It was a bit different, and but it failed to capture that popularity again. And I think a show like Jericho would have been better on streaming anyway, to be honest with you. But CBS also at the time has, and it still to this day has like the largest viewer base. So if it wasn't doing good on CBS, that's telling you something. But they organized and they got it. And the Snyder Cut people, they organized and they got it. And like I said to you, Enosh, everyone else lost. We won. And so in this particular situation, there are ways to do it. There are letter writing campaigns. Cost, they're not that expensive. And it gives a very physical presence to the request. But I think also the Snyder Cut fandom has to decide what their end game is, because the, Jericho guys, they wanted season 2. They got it. Ultimately, this was for the Snyder Cut. We got it. If there's a next phase to this,
yes,
it has to be organized and there has to be an end game in sight. And the question then becomes, does Zach actually want to do it? And that becomes, he has said he wants to, but like, dude, this is took 5 years of his life.
Well, I talked to somebody this last week that, their whole thing was, and they're kind of, they're really close to the situation and close, higher up in the movement, I should say. And, and their concern was very similar to yours, was like, one, does Zach want to do it? But like, even if he does, like, do we really want Zach, after all that Zach has been through?
Yeah.
After all of this stuff, do we really want Zach to have to like keep going through this? You know what I mean? Like they obviously don't want him there at Warner Brothers. At least not on the Warner Brothers Pictures side of it. Jason Kilar seems to on the outside of it seems to want Zach. There's been all these, kind of reports and pieces that have been written, talking about there's this, bidding war or something like that, between Netflix and HBOMax, of like where he's going to go. Like, but, at some point you got to ask yourself the question, like, who wants to go to work every day and feel like you're not wanted there, and like you're beating your head up against a wall for every little project. I mean, you even get your project made finally. You did it for free. You know, you went back and you crafted this whole thing. You worked hard on it. The fans worked hard on it, and then 5 days later, they're trying to cut you off at the knees, even. You know, so it's like that would be a very hard thing to do. I mean, unless you literally walk into it and they're just like, okay, you're going to be on HBO Max, Zach. It's going to be totally separate from that. Don't worry about Warner Brothers Pictures. Don't worry about, Warner Media. Like, you're just going to focus on HBO Max. We're going to give you everything that you want. We want you to create content for this platform only, and you have our full support. But even then, you got to think in the back of his head somewhere, it's like, is some WB executive going to get some stick in their craw and have it out for you one day,
I think I agree with you. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point. I think what it's going to happen, if it does happen, would be what they should do, in my opinion, at least, would be to treat it like Lord of the Rings, where they have the scripts for 2 and 3 done. They shoot them back to back. Yes. They modify the budget as they go. And that is what they brought Hamada in for, by the way. They brought Hamada in to keep budgets on track. And he is apparently very good at that one. And if that's what they need to work with in order to make it, then work with him. Okay.
So what you're saying is the budget for 2 and 3 is going to look like this?
Yeah, pretty much. But
the dark side,
10% slow-mo. So there's that, Can
you beat him? I don't know. Oh, there it is.
There you
Superman
go.
1.
Finally. That was just as long as the Snyder Cut.
I know. Every time I do this, man, the dark side wins. So finally.
All right. Good on this channel. It didn't happen. But I think, because I kind of we're getting close to 40 minutes. So I'll probably start winding this damn thing down. I don't think people should cancel their HBO Max subscription now. Yeah. I think you should hold off at least a couple months. Wait to see what happens. Wait to see what the Nielsen numbers bring in, what Warner Media's internal data brings in, and maybe, what Keelar says. And if Keelar comes in and he shuts it down, and all bets are off at that point. Do what you got to do. If Keelar comes in and just shuts it down, then be done. If you feel the need, like, I'm going to probably stick it out for the year because they have movies that I want to see. That's going to be coming out. There's value to the product. It's not just Snyder stuff. But
I've been very happy with HBO Max.
I have too.
Surprisingly, but
But that's the whole point. If it's as bad as what they're making it out to, if it goes, for lack of a better term, kind of tits up, then by all means. But in the meantime, kind of hold the line. Don't get too upset. This is business, so we have to remember that it's a business, and we have to remember that ultimately it's up to them to decide. But then we can respond because we have that free will. And I hope it doesn't go down that path where it becomes this like cancel HBO Max trend on Twitter and everything else, because they've done a lot and I appreciate them for what they've done. Sure. And I don't want to come across as ungrateful. I love that I can fire up my TV and I can watch the Snyder Cut right now and I get an excellent 4-hour movie. I'm very happy with that.
Yes.
I just want to see the story concluded. And I think that's what we want. That's what a lot of people out there want. And if it's just Justice League 2 and not part 3, and they condense it into one movie and it's also 4 hours long, I'd be fine with that too. Mm-hmm. All right. But I think they'd be better to let it be let it be one whole big thing and play it the long game. I think the long game is something here that a lot of people aren't really realizing too. But Sarnoff seems to think differently. And I vehemently disagree with her on it. On excluding the Snyderverse, because that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. Like I said, we've campaigned, we've fought. It's been long, it's been grueling, it's been tiring, and it's unfortunate that we weren't even able to really take our victory lap, that we weren't able to just rest and gain our strength back before it feels like we got to go right back out to battle. But I will say this, it's just like the moniker that they give to Superman. It's a never-ending battle, and you don't always get time to rest and go back out. And so, look, troops, we got to do this the old way, fire up the armada. Let's go. Let's hit the boom tubes. Let's get out there.
So what you're saying is what you're saying is if are
dark
you
side this thing.
would you here's my question.
Give
And
them the
then
nightmare.
after this we will end it. But there's apparently a rumor or the idea of a big Snyder Cut fan meetup in LA in October.
Oh, okay.
And that's been floated around by a few people. Now would you go to that?
If I had the money, I would.
Yeah.
If by then I had I'm financially able to do it, and I knew that this was going to be like a rallying point for us to move forward with this, and we all feel that this is something that we're going to do. I mean, because look, we could talk about it on our channels, and that's great, right? And we're both part of this movement and stuff.
But
and we got our own little segments and stuff. But hey, look, now that I'm part of this and kind of getting deeper into it, like I'm part of Justice Con next month and everything.
Yeah.
If I got invited to something like that and we're like, yeah, we're going to go do this. Yeah.
Check this out though. Here's how it works. Yeah. Okay. So I used to live in North Hollywood, which is right next to Burbank, which is where Warner Brothers is. Mm-hmm. So you fly into Burbank International Airport, right? You go right down the street, dude. Warner Brothers is right down the street. Like literally get off the plane.
Yep.
Half mile down the road, Warner's
I've been to Warner Brothers.
Yeah, so it's right there. So it's like you could totally go see the movie, everyone go get an In-N-Out burger, and then head on down and protest outside of Warner Brothers for the next level of stuff. Totally. But I think that would be a lot of fun. I plan on going if that is a reality. I mean, it's not hard for me to fly to Burbank from where I live. And I can hear my kids, and I know it's now time to go make them dinner. So I have to go.
All right.
But Enosh, where can people find you?
You can find me at Poindexter Lounge on YouTube. You can also find me on all the major socials. We're on all of it, and we're on Twitter. Just take the E out of the middle and just Poindexter Lounge that way, because they won't give us that freaking last letter. They're like, and Sarnoff.
No, you just named your thing too long. Just be fair. You just named it too long.
I did.
You could have been like,
but you know what? Else, but you know what? Zach made his thing too long. He made it 5 movies, and apparently Ann Sarnoff thinks it's only 3. But you know what? It's okay. And we're going to be just fine. And people are finding us just fine. So find me on all those.
Okay.
And come over and have some fun.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Check out the lounge. I'm on there quite often because I still can't stream until June. But all right, everyone. Thank you very much. Leave your comments and your thoughts below. If you made it this far, do me a solid and type in dark side in the comment box. So I know you made it about 43 minutes because you guys are the true MVPs. We'll talk to you later.